Welcome to the introductory video for Metta365. I'm Nicci. This video will cover some things that you'll need for a mindfulness practice with me, as well as a few optional extras. I'll talk about what mindfulness actually is, why we practice mindfulness, why I choose to combine mindfulness and coaching, a few different types of mindfulness practices, breathing, the importance of breathing, and I touch upon 2 breathwork practices that I use with my coaching clients and that you may find useful. 2 very simple, very easy, very effective ways of using breathwork as a mindfulness technique. So I do have a few cards which I will be looking at just to make sure that I say all the things that I want to say. If you want to find out more about Metta365 coaching, you can find me on Instagram, Metta365 coaching. That's METTA numbers 365. On Facebook, also Metta365 coaching, and YouTube is Metta365 coaching and mentoring. So let's start off with the definition of mindfulness. My favorite quote is one by Jon Kabat-Zinn, who is basically the big daddy of mindfulness. Mindfulness is paying attention on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally to the unfolding of experiences moment by moment. Another definition that I use in my classes is one by James Barraz. Mindfulness is simply being aware of what is happening right now without wishing it were different. Enjoying the pleasant without holding on when it changes, which it will. Being with the unpleasant without fearing it will always be that way, which it won't. So the 4 components then of mindfulness. Number 1, paying attention. So in other words, listening, watching, considering what naturally exists. So not trying to create an experience, but just observing what's there. Number 2, on purpose, intentionally increasing awareness of whatever experience it is that you're having. Number 3, in the present moment. So focusing on the here and now. We tend to live a lot of our lives leaning forward into what still hasn't happened, or leaning back, dwelling in the past. And mindfulness invites us to land in the present moment. And number 4, non-judgmentally. So we are curious and objective about the experience that we are witnessing. So those 4 components again, paying attention, on purpose, in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And that non-judgmentally is a really big one, because we can pay attention and be curious and present, but if we're judging what it is that we're seeing, we are missing the point of mindfulness. So the idea is that we are impartial observers of whatever's going on. We're not thinking it's good or bad, we're just going, it is what it is. We're observing our reactions, physical, emotional, to whatever we're observing, and we choose to come back to the present moment again and again, breath by breath. So, why mindfulness? Mindfulness can help us to increase our focus, to regulate our emotions, to decrease our stress levels, depression, anxiety. And as we become more present in our lives, in relation to others, interpersonal relationships, romantic relationships, relationships with our children or our colleagues. It can help us to make better decisions. It helps us to manage our emotions. And it helps us to become more fully engaged in life as it happens. Those of you that know me already will know that I never miss an opportunity to quote Viktor Frankl, who is an Austrian, or was an Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, philosopher, author. He wrote the incredible book called Man's Search for Meaning, about his experience of surviving the Holocaust. He is the founder of logotherapy, which believes that a search for life meaning is a central motivational force for us humans. And in the book, and I quote this on my website as well, he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In that response lies our growth and our freedom. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response, and in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So that leads on to why I use mindfulness in my coaching, my executive coaching, personal development coaching, life coaching. Mindfulness helps us to go from autopilot and habit into a more intentional way. It helps us to recognize, to stop or to change habitual responses, knee-jerk reaction. It helps us to regulate our bodies. So when we are stressed out, which is often why people come to coaching or to yoga, something's not working, and often if something isn't working, our physical response is to tense up, and it's very hard to think clearly if our bodies are tense. It affects the way that we think, because when we tense, we are not breathing properly, we're depleting our body, our mind, our brain of oxygen, which is required for every single process in the human body. So as part of a coaching intervention, the mindfulness practices really help to bring ease to the body, which can help us to separate physical, mental, emotional stressors and feelings of stress. So it can tend to feel a bit muddled when we are feeling overwhelmed. We don't know where to start. Using a mindfulness practice as a complement to the coaching process can help us to gain clarity. If we do it in the short term, if we do it in response to a particularly stressful situation, it can help us just to calm us down. If you think about the age-old advice of take a deep breath. But if it's practiced consistently, which I invite my coachees to do whenever they sign up to or engage me as their coach, it can really help to support the changes that they may be aiming for. And in the long term, it's been proven time and time again that a mindfulness practice can actually permanently alter the structure of the brain. Thanks to research that's been done, I can tell you all about that if you're interested. But essentially, the mindfulness practice that I encourage you to develop as a part of the coaching process is a lifelong investment in your own well-being. And the best results that I've gained from my coachees are from those who have embraced the mindfulness techniques. Types of mindfulness practice. So there are many. You don't have to be sitting on a yoga mat and gazing at your navel in order to be practicing mindfulness. It can be any activity in which you can direct your attention to whatever is happening in the present moment, observing non-judgmentally how it unfolds moment by moment, and not clinging to whatever it is that you're observing, not judging it. So mindfulness meditation is one that I use a lot. Breathwork is a huge one for me. Any sort of mindful movement. So I am a big fan of yoga. I'm a certified yoga instructor, and mindful yoga, mindful movement is a beautiful form of mindfulness for me. Mindful eating, mindful driving, any activity really that you may do, whether it's gardening or painting or even washing the dishes or playing a musical instrument. A mindful pause. It might be as simple as a mindful pause, a mindful bedtime routine, a mindful shower. A body scan is another mindfulness practice. Trataka, which is candle gazing, different form of mindfulness practice, a type of meditation. So as you can see, there are many mindfulness practices. My main focus is on mindfulness meditation, on movement. So the yoga offerings that I do are either yin focused, slow, long, floor-based practice, working deep into the connective tissues, or a yang practice, which is the more flowing, energetic one. Both of them invite us to really be 100% present while we're moving. And then the one that I have named my coaching business after is a breathwork technique, the 365 breathing, which is the foundation of my coaching practice. The Metta in my name, or the coaching business's name, stands for, or is the definition of loving kindness. It's a Pali word, it comes from Sanskrit, and it means loving kindness, benevolence. The 365 breathing is quite a popular breathwork technique where we are invited 3 times a day to pause and connect with our breath for 5 minutes, taking 6 breaths a minute. And the 2 other breathwork techniques that I use a lot are belly breathing. I always start with belly breathing because it's the foundation of pretty much every single relaxation exercise. And then Nadi Shodhana, which is the alternate nostril breathing. So breathing, why it's important, just touching upon that, as I mentioned earlier, every single system in the body relies on oxygen. From cognition to digestion, effective breathing can not only provide us with greater mental clarity, but also help us sleep better, digest our food better. It improves our body's immune response, and it helps to reduce stress levels. So many people who come to me have sore shoulders, and very often it's because they simply don't know how to breathe properly. We tend to breathe with our shoulders and our upper chest rather than breathing from the belly, not using our diaphragm, which is our main breathing apparatus. So this is why I put a big emphasis on breath work. It helps to support the practice of mindfulness, any coaching intervention. Plus, the breath is always with you. It's for free. And if and when you remember to use it, it's easy. My next video is going to talk more about 2 particular breathwork techniques, belly breathing, why it's important and how to do it, and then the 365 breathing. So if you're interested in finding out more about belly breathing and the 365 breathing, please watch the video that is all about breathwork. There are also going to be some other videos. The second video will be about the breath. The third video will be about an actual mindfulness meditation that you can do anytime you wish. The fourth video will be a simple mindful movement practice, so a yoga practice that should be accessible to all. The fifth video will be a guided relaxation, a progressive body scan relaxation. And then the sixth video that I will be uploading will be the full Monty. So in other words, the breathing followed by mindful movement, the yoga, followed by the relaxation at the end of the yoga practice. And yeah, so those are all going to be freestanding videos. Please let me know what you think. Please let me know if there are any questions. So the things that you'll need if you are going to do any of these practices, if you're just going to be doing the mindfulness meditation or the breath work, you don't need a yoga mat. Just find yourself a comfortable place and make sure that you're sitting up tall. I would encourage you to do your breath work or your meditation sitting up, because otherwise the temptation to fall asleep is huge. So for a sitting position, you will want to either sit on the floor with your legs crossed or sit on a zafu, which is one of these beautiful thick meditation pillows, or a yoga bolster, which is like one of these. I can let you know where to find these if you need to find out. I use a meditation stool, which you sit upon and tuck your legs underneath. In the mindfulness meditation video, I will talk more about that. I like to have a shawl just to keep myself warm if my temperature drops. I always have a little candle burning, a little bit of light. In my first yoga teacher training, they encouraged us to also have some life. So whether it's a plant, these are optional extras, by the way. I always have a box of tissues, because when I meditate or do my breath work, sometimes tears come, and it just means that I don't have to get up and look for a tissue. I use an eye pillow if I'm lying down. So if it's an evening meditation, I know I just said you should sit, but if you do need to lie down, by all means lie down and use an eye pillow. You might want some essential oil. You may wish to have some incense. And you may wish to have a little journal to jot down some thoughts after your practice. Is that all? I think so. So that is a very quick overview. It's not that quick, it's 18 minutes, but it'll give you an idea of what all the mindfulness practice side of Metta365 is about. And let me know if I missed anything out, and let me know what you think. Sending you metta, and thank you for your time, and see you soon.